Hi, so we've gone through iterations of the Actionable Metrics Canvas, and I'd like to show the latest one. I think the easiest way to do this on understanding how to fill this out is to probably do it through an example. If you're not familiar with the Actionable Metrics Canvas, the idea behind this is to have a framework for identifying the metrics that matter most for growing your particular SaaS business and identifying them so that then you can do many things for growth. So track them, build strategies around them, etc. So today I'm going to try to fill this out by using Loom as an example. We created this little wizard as the first tab, so we'll talk through that first. Then we'll actually take that wizard and plug it into the canvas. And then I'll talk about a few other tabs as well, such as features, goals, and tracking definitions. So let's start with the wizard. So let's take a look at Loom and determine what customer acquisition strategies that do they offer from what we can tell, right? If we were to do this as the owner of Loom, I would know off the top of my head. But if I look at this, I can see that they probably have a freemium play and a 14-day free trial and probably a demo. I would say they probably have freemium, a opt-in or a standard free trial, and a demo. Now, considering their primary CTA is get started free, I'm going to select which one is your primary. I'm going to say it's free. There's a freemium play. So let's go ahead and get signed up. I will do this by email. All right, so verify the email. Let's see if I got it. I did. All right, and we're in. So let's go back to the canvas for a second and let's talk about onboarding. So the first thing we did was create an account. We always start with create an account, which means if there's something that happens between this free trial sign up and create an account, we will know, such as you can see, there was an email verification. There could be drop off there. So you really want to start with create an account. Now, this is a required step. And the reason we do this is because within activation, we have some rules in which we define as core onboarding. In this exercise, we're going to try to define the core onboarding for Loom. These are going to be required steps, and optional ones will basically become secondary or actually tertiary metrics. So let's go ahead and try to do this. So create an account, and let's just go through this process for a second. What will you use for Loom? There's a qualification question. What do you want to share videos with? All right, so right now we have qualification questions. And the primary here, I believe, is creating your first workspace. I'm just going to take some notes here and reorganize in a second. So we're creating a workspace. This looks like it's required. All of these are actually required. But the key one here is, did we get to create a workspace? I believe we need a workspace in order to record videos. All right, so we created a workspace. Now we determine what's next. We could do a lot of different things. We could invite team members, but it looks like they want us to record a video. So we need to install a recorder. Let's go ahead and do the extension. All right, we need to enable notifications, which I would consider kind of as part of installing a recorder. All right, so we see it up here. We need to activate. Let's just put these here for a second. Enable notifications. Activate Chrome extension. And we're activated. All right, you need to access your mic and camera in order to create stunning recordings. Microphone and camera access. And now we can start a recording within a recording. Fun. All right, so I'm recording, finish recording. All right, so we record first video. And the next thing, in order to get any value out of this, I will have to either share with my team or somebody, right? So the final step is to share recorded video. Now, if we look at these as required steps, we could add a lot of other things. We could add team member, right? Maybe up in here, we could have add team member. We could have create a shared space, star videos, lots of different things. These are really probably more retention based. But for core, I would say, from what I experienced, I would say we need to create our workspace. And between create account and create workspace, if I don't answer those qualification questions, I know there'll be drop off there. But this is really the required step. We got to create a workspace. Then we need to install the recorder. Now this could be Chrome or desktop. Really, it doesn't matter since this is a preference. But if either of those are done, this step would be completed. Enable notifications. These are kind of sub-steps between these, in my opinion. I would probably say all three of these are sub-steps that between installing a recorder and recording your first video, you would want to track these as user experience actions, or if there's drop off there, you would want to increase user experience. But I'd probably say these are like sub actions or sub level actions within core onboarding. So I'm going to remove these, and I would say record first video, share recorded video. Now this becomes our core onboarding. The rules here are these all have to be top level required steps. So that's why I removed the other three. And the final step needs to align with the promise of your business. The promise of your business is what your business does at its core. Now, Loom records videos to be shared. So in order to actually complete core onboarding, you need to share your recorded video. At this point, they've experienced the value of Loom. Now, once we get past onboarded, this would be our defined onboarded. They may do other things, and this may be a test video, and that's okay. And the reason I would say that is we don't know how many test videos someone needs to create in order to create a framework to determine that that's onboarded. So as long as we understand that they've even if they've created a test video and they've shared it with someone, they would be considered onboarded. And then what we want to do is take that onboarded definition and we go 2 levels deeper. So we say, how many times is this onboarded video? Now it turns into a ongoing metric from a first time, record first video metric, share first video metric. How many times does someone need to record and share a video for their engagement or retention curve to level off and lower churn? So it might take 3 times on average or 5 times on average, and we don't know how many of those videos are test videos. On average, someone could test 2 times, 3 times. We don't know. But we do know from data that after the 5th time, per se, someone stays around. Now, this is getting into retention, and that's my point, or that's my argument, is it's okay if this first video is a test. Looking at turning that onboarded final action into an ongoing metric becomes a retention metric, and ultimately, potentially, a North Star metric, or the metric that centralizes the growth of your company, where if someone achieves this, you know they will be successful with your product and a valuable customer with the highest lifetime value. So let's say we have our steps. Now we could add, just for an example, an optional step in here. We'll make this optional and say add team members. Right? Now, if we're trying to get someone through this, just as an example, you may have an optional step like that you want to identify, that you're confused about a little bit. But once you determine it's optional, we can add it in here, and I'll show you how to add it to the canvas. So next is revenue. Generally, because once you're onboarded, your next goal is to get them to revenue and then retain them. So we'll bring back this share recorded video onboarded definition here in a second. Revenue, we always consider the initial purchase as a default, and that's part of this canvas as well. But for this wizard, we want to look at what happens after initial purchase. What are our upsells or cross-sells or expansion revenue opportunities with Loom? So let's go back into our account and say, let's have a look at if I can find how to upgrade. Let's see. My videos, maybe come in here. I'm not even sure how to upgrade. Plan and billing, there it is. All right, so we have per creator per month. So, and viewer accounts, and it looks like videos. So we have creators as a value metric. They all have unlimited viewers. Number of videos. So what I would say is, it looks like we could definitely go by tiers. So upgrade tiers. As a whole that you want to determine. I kind of put a drop down here, like these are the common things. There's add-ons, services that you tack on, managed services, upgrading tiers, or other items. There are other things that can happen. The easiest way to do this is to kind of get an understanding. So upgrading tiers, great, and possibly adding a seat. Even if I'm on one of these plans, I could add a seat as an add-on. So let's add that. Added seat as an add-on. All right, now we move down into retention. So this is what we would do with retention, is list all the product's core features. When I say core features, there's again like top level features. What does your product do on the top level? What are your top level features, in which there are probably a lot of sub features. We can track all of them, but we really want to understand the core features. So in Loom, we would say create videos, create screenshots, record videos, create screenshots, share video, add team member, star video, probably the core areas here. Access shared library. Use the shared library. Archive video. And the last thing we do here is determine if this is a one-time setup feature or an ongoing feature. So recording videos is ongoing. Create screenshots is ongoing. Share video is ongoing. Add a team member. I would say that's like really a one-time setup. Like once you add that team member, yes, you may add more team members, but like generally you're going to add your team to get set up one time. Star a video, probably ongoing, ongoing, and ongoing. So this is more like sometimes you have one-off onboarding steps, and it's important to understand when you're setting up tracking which ones are ongoing features that really you're going to set engagement goals around, and which ones are one-time setup features that you want to understand how important this feature is on the setup process. Is if a group or a cohort achieves this, how does it impact retention and onboarded, etc. And the last is referral. So let's check the box if your product offers the following. Do you have an affiliate or partner offering? Can users add team members to the account? We know they can in Loom. Can users on your platform invite other users outside of their team to join? Yes, they can. Let's just assume they have one for now. And is there any other important actions related to brand advocacy and virality? I would say signed up, as an example, from a shared video. If someone signs up from a shared video, they were shared and they say, oh, this is Loom, what's Loom? And they sign up, I would want to track that metric as a referral metric. So this is an example. All right, so next, we take this wizard on how we filled this out and we plug it into our actionable metrics. So here's how it breaks down. In acquisition, we have primary customer acquisition strategy. Aligns directly with acquisition here. The primary is freemium free, right? So it's a free sign up. I'll just type free sign up. Now there's two other secondary metrics within acquisition that we track, which is visitors, anonymous visitors. So visitors that you can exclude customers, users that already have an account. If you have tracking set up properly through this, you should be able to eliminate them from tracking. And then sign up intent. Sign up intent is something that we've defined as they're showing intent to sign up for your product. And we do this in tracking definitions here. And I'll explain a few of these. The first is sign up intent. This would be like how many visited the pricing page, or they visited free trial. You could even track like started trial registration. You may want to understand how many people are getting to trial registration. So you want to group these as sign up intent, but also understand them as individual metrics as well, if that makes sense. And let's say started free sign up, since we do have free, that is our primary, and request demo, etc. So these, and this example would be grouped as a single metric in sign up intent. So the idea is we want a funnel that we say, all right, what is visitors and the conversion to sign up intent, and how many of those do we get to sign up for their free account. Now, within this as well, back into tracking definitions before we go into activation, something I need to mention is segments. So we want to understand clearly multiple things within this. One is each of the customer acquisition strategies. So free users versus free trial users versus those that got a demo. And we also want to understand generally here your tiers. So how many are on basic, which is really correlated to this. But someone maybe have gotten a trial, and I need to go back to pricing here, sorry. Starter, basic, enterprise. And the last thing I like to add into segments for understanding or data analysis is qualification questions. So we had a few in the beginning. I can't remember what they are right now. I'd have to go back and check those. But qualification questions such as industry, what was your role? And so basically you can use these segments to say, I want to look at all the people that are marketers and how are they performing within our product versus those that are salespeople, or what industries are leading to higher engagement, etc. This is how I would look at segments. All right, so let's move into activation. So to fill this out, the final onboarding step is always your primary activation metric. So we have share recorded video, if you remember here. And the rest of the required steps are secondary. So we'll say create an account, create workspace, install recorder, record first video. So these secondary come in a row, and then they come up here to your shared recorded video. And I would say any optional I would add as tertiary, as things you want to pay attention to if they are helping or hurting with getting through the onboarding process. So add team members as an example. Now for revenue, we always have initial upgrade as that primary revenue metric, but we also identified upgrading tiers as well as what was our add-on? Added seats. All right, now we move to retention. The interesting thing for every company is your activation or onboarding metric actually becomes your primary retention metric. It just goes from the first time, so this is really shared recorded video first time, to ongoing. So I have this to match, but really this is first time, and this is really shared recorded video, which I could just for the sake of this, turn this to ongoing. So if you think about it, what your company does at its core, it goes from that is your core onboarding metric that you're trying to define your core onboarding to achieve for the first time. Then your retention metric, as we talked about earlier, your core retention metric is what your business does at its core. It shares recorded videos as Loom. And this becomes an ongoing metric in which happens ongoing. And we want to analyze at this point, how many times does this happen in order for it to become extremely valuable, and the retention curve to show that it's flattening off versus dropping off completely. At that point, that really becomes our initial North Star metric, where we want to say, okay, we want to get people to, for instance, do at least 5 videos within the first 7 days or something to that effect. So this becomes an ongoing metric. Then we add your features to this list. I made it into a separate tab simply because there could be a lot of them. And this kind of is the exact same as this wizard for now. So you guys can just add it here, or you can leverage your wizard. And it looks like I just overwrote this. Anyways, these become, you want to do the same thing here where you map these out and add these metrics there as well. All right, I'm not going to go through formatting, but you'll get it. So here is your feature list. Now, the next thing we look at on the canvas is referral. Now, we had a few different referral metrics within the wizard. We said adding an affiliate or partner, and these really can be, there is no primary, secondary, although there could be with this. But at affiliate sign up, if there is one, we said we would assume there was. Added a team member to an account, which is a seat. This is also a revenue metric, but it's also a referral metric, and it's okay to have them as the same. You just need to understand that they're tied together, right? Adding a team member can increase retention, where it also is an advocacy or referral type metric in which they're getting more people to your platform. And they can invite other members outside. So add new seat, add outside member. And the last one was signed up from a shared video. So these become our referral metrics to track. Next is goals. Now, goals is ultimately trying to understand feature usage, ongoing feature usage that would happen at a certain period in which it reflects a change in your retention curve. Ideally, a positive change is what you're shooting for. So for instance, it might be what we talked about earlier, recorded fifth video. It could be like recorded first video is onboarded, but we could say recorded second video that we want to track. And then maybe compare that recorded third video. And maybe that is, you want to also track like 10th video. This at the moment is assumptions in which you track them, you analyze them, and you then determine how to get this down to a single goal for this metric ultimately. Like, what is the goal that you're trying to shoot for that adds impact to your growth? A few others could be like added fifth team member, or second team member, sorry. Fifth would be nice too, but added second team member. Maybe we'll just add fifth team member here too, just to see. It's okay to have a gap between there. That's where you iron things out. If fifth is showing high progress and second's showing nothing, then you've figured out, okay, well, let's test third and determine if how a third compares to fifth, and where is that ideal plateau that we need to shoot for as our goal. Maybe starred first video would be good, right? It's not an onboarding metric. We want to understand if they star a video, does it increase their engagement? How does it affect the retention curve? And maybe archiving a video. And you could do this for a lot of different things to determine goals. But that's the example. And then we just have the exact same thing. Is this first time or ongoing? Now you could say recorded video and make it ongoing each time they record a video. I like to try to set goals as the first time they achieve something, or if it's ongoing, you need to have a time-based cohort. So for instance, recorded 5 videos within 7 days. Now this is an ongoing metric, but there's a period of analysis here, which is very important in understanding how this impacts things. So if you do an ongoing metric, my suggestion is to have a time frame in there as well. Let's talk about tracking definitions. Created account defined. So for instance, they do have a verification email. This is just like a note. So between somebody signing up for their free account and getting to that created account, they need to click the verification email and verify their email to have their account created. User qualification. So is there any users that you don't want to analyze and eliminate from sign up? So for instance, maybe we consider the role engineering for whatever reason as an unqualified user. We would say engineers here. And basically from there, you want to eliminate them from data analysis. That's the idea of unqualified users. So there's a lot of different types that this could be. It could be a role. It could be you have a product in which you want teachers to sign up for, but students sign up sometimes, and you want to say anytime it's a student, remove it from my analysis. Teachers are our buyers. And the last is user structure. There's a document here you can follow, but ultimately you're trying to understand what is the definition of an account. And in order to do that, you need to understand user structure to determine who is the account owner and who are we analyzing engagement for. So here's a quick little breakdown. If it's just one user, easy enough. If you have multiple accounts with sub-users, it gets a little more complicated. You would just go through this and determine your account structure. And that's about it to get your actionable metrics defined. From here, you would build this into like a tracking spec stock that you could link here for your team to make sure all these items are tracked. And once you have them defined, as mentioned before, there's a lot of things you can do with this. We can organize our entire SaaS growth around these 5 pillars of growth: acquisition, activation, revenue, retention, referral. What are the SaaS metrics we need, or subscription metrics we need to track within these 5 pillars? Where are these being tracked? What tools are they being tracked in? So that marketing in the beginning can understand what's being tracked for engineering, and engineering can say, oh, that's where that's being tracked for marketing. What are strategies to grow these metrics? You can start siloing your strategies and understanding, okay, well, these are the strategies that we're going to get free people to sign up. These are the strategies that we're going to use in order to onboard them. These are the strategies that we're going to use to get them to pay us initially. And then we can define, well, we're going to have tools to execute these strategies. What are the tools we need? This will also help you identify where there's gaps in your stack. And then finally, you want to have accountability tracking of some sort. So understand which teams are responsible for growing the metrics within each of these growth pillars. And then oftentimes it's very helpful to find a single owner or person that's responsible for identifying if this metric is hitting goals or not. So you want to define these, track them, set goals for them, and ideally have a single person that says this is on or off track, and that can be brought to the team meetings. So hopefully this is helpful as an example for setting up your actionable metrics, and this new template is of value. Thanks.